Hi, and welcome. So my plan of today is to briefly go through some basic information about STEM at Stewart and show some of our STEM in action. And then I'm going to lead it, pass it off to our alum and our two students. Ratika is a senior this year, and Vivian is a junior. So they can share their experiences with STEM at Stewart as well. So basically, our curriculum at Stewart goes from early childhood all the way up to kindergarten or all the way up to 12th grade, looking at incorporating design thinking in all of our classes. We look for discovery-based learning and primary and problem solving is the primary focus, not just in our STEM classes, but also in our history classes and our science and our social studies in the lower school and our music classes and our arts classes. We all look at the design thinking and problem solving. Our mathematics looks conceptually so that students have to justify their answers and give some explanations. And then in our middle school and upper school, they have a computer science requirement. In the lower school, there is some computer science and coding that happens, and that happens within their STEM classes. One of the things in the lower school that I'd like to highlight is Arcane's Arcade that happens in October. It's a part of the STEM and social justice piece. The girls create using cardboard various different types of games in groups together, and it's our entire lower school from kindergarten all the way up to 4th grade. And then after they create them in the day, we open it up to not only parents, but we also open it up to local nursing homes that bring in some of their residents to work with the girls and to play their games. In the middle school, one of our signatures events for science is called their CISPs. And basically what the 7th and 8th graders do is for the second trimester, they perform experiments and then have to give presentations to both inside and outside people about their experiment and how their results came about. In our upper school, one of the great things we have is known as our STEM diploma endorsement. And what this endorsement allows you to do is give you a little bit more focus in the STEM fields. You have to participate in some STEM discussions. You have to do a full year math and a full year, or 4 full years of math and 4 full years of science. You have 3 trimesters of designated STEM courses, and they're noted in our course catalog. And they could be anywhere from graphic design or film, all the way up to oceanography and anatomy and physiology. You have to take 2 trimesters of computer science. You have to complete a STEM portfolio about your experience by the end of the senior year. And you do an independent research project starting in your junior year and ending by your senior year, which looks, it's about a 60-hour study of any field that the student is particularly interested in. And then you have to attend 3 conferences in the STEM by the senior year. We provide a lot of them at school. And then finally, you have to lead a freshman discussion when you're a senior to give back to the STEM endorsement. So as I was saying, there are a whole bunch of different upper school STEM courses. We have biotechnology, architecture, robotics, personal finance, oceanography, in addition to all of our AP courses that we offer, AP Chem, AP Bio, AP Environmental Science, both APs in the Computer Science A and Computer Science Principles, AP Physics, I think, and then our AP Math classes, AP Stats, AP Calc AB, and AP Calc BC. We also have 2 robotics teams. This is the FTC, the First Tech Robotics team, which is part of the upper school classes as well as a club. So this is the team last year when they brought the robot up to the front hall in Stuart and they let other people drive it to show them their robot. And then we also have an FLL team in our middle school, and this is them competing at states this year. We have a variety of after-school programs. This is a picture of one of our after-school programs that looks at incorporating arts and electronics. And they had to design their own wearable technology. We have robotics in the lower school as well. And as you can see, our middle school and upper school students also help with those. One of the neat things we do is something called the Afternoon of Make, where we work on different STEM and arts crafts that combine together. The girls all work together in a variety of different workshops that they get to choose. Some of the girls run the workshops, and this is like tie-dye, and we talk about the science behind them or the technology behind the activities, as well as the arts that are involved. One of the great things about Stuart is our spaces. We have a makerspace. We do a lot of outdoor education. Our furniture is collaborative within all of the classrooms, and we have this really neat Lego wall downstairs. So here is just a picture of the Lego wall, and then this is also a picture of some of our students using our windows in our STEM link to take some notes. And we do that towards the end of the year, usually as they're preparing for finals. This is some of our outdoor spaces. We have an outdoor classroom that any class can go in and use. Not to mention, we also back up to our nature, and we have a stream running through the back of our yard. We also have a nature trail and an outdoor low ropes course out there that classes have used. We have chickens. Our chickens are run by our middle school chicken club, and this is a picture of our chicken club. And they're the ones who primarily take care of our chickens, but the chickens are actually incorporated into all of the classes. Our lower school STEM goes out and observes the chickens. They help clean up after the chickens. They count the eggs that the chickens have. And our middle schoolers primarily take care of them. Our chickens do free range during the day, and they make sure in the morning they go out and take care of them, get them out of their pen, and then at night at 3 o'clock they take them all back in. And if we don't have the equipment or the spot, being in New Jersey, we utilize our spaces of our outdoor classrooms as we can. This is our oceanography and our AP environmental class. They went up to Sandy Hook and did some research there. Here are some examples of our makerspace projects. As I said, that we incorporate makerspace into all of our classes, STEM into all of our classes. This is a Spanish class, and one of our middle schoolers doing some soldering. Our Spanish classes design for Day of the Dead skulls on our 3D printers, and then they talk about the culture experience and why they should design them the way they should. And these are just some other examples of our makerspace. We have 3D printers, we have laser cutters. And finally, one of the great things we've started to do with our STEM students in the high school is they have started to organize some wonderful STEM family nights. So here are just some pictures. That is our lower school STEM teacher, Miss Nickerson, who came to help out. And she was working with our STEM family nights. We have some of the kids were doing some 3D printing. They were showing their parents how to operate the robotics that they've learned both in class and that night. And then we were also hosted some STEM nights where the kids, it was a babysitter drop-off night, and the upper schoolers ran events, and the parents were able to just drop off the kids so that you had a little free time as a parent. And our upper schoolers had just as much fun as the lower schoolers and the middle schoolers. I wanted to just briefly introduce you to some of the STEM events that happen at Stuart. And if you want to reach out to me at any time, you can, or you can also look at our website. And again, I said I wanted to do it briefly because quite frankly, the 3 students are so more articulate at explaining their STEM experience than I am. So I'm going to pass it off to the junior first. We're going to go youngest to oldest. And I'm going to pass it off to Vivian.
Hi, I'm Vivian. I am currently a junior here at Stuart, and next year I will be a senior. So what first brought me to Stuart? I transferred from a fairly large public school district, West Windsor-Plainsboro, with more than 400 people per grade, while mine now has a little over 40. So I think one of the most attractive features of Stuart was definitely the small class sizes and how we have a more intimate environment for learning and to get to know everyone, be it my classmates or even my teachers. And there's definitely a lot more individualized attention and opportunities. So, in terms of STEM, my favorite STEM class has to be robotics that I've taken ever since I was a freshman in high school. And I love how I am able to not only learn about the hands on experience, but I can also collaborate with my classmates in building the robot. I also program the robot as well. So I learned a lot of my programming through the hands on learning experience and all of the fun stuff of leadership and also teamwork, collaborating with other teams around the state. And also, another favorite STEM class of mine is AP Computer Science Principles, where I taught by Miss Testa. Also, robotics is taught by Miss Testa, but it really emphasizes the applications of computer science to the world and the global impacts, and more about the internet. And overall, it was just a really engaging class, and it grew my understanding of computer science, not just hard programming, but also everything else computer science really is about. So, about a little bit about my STEM endorsement project. My endorsement project is not as much science research based, but rather computer science based. So, I wanted to start by analyzing a preliminary sample data set of 30 calming songs. And after I analyze their similarities through a program in Spotify Developer, I will be able to determine certain variables that are across the board of these songs. And then after I have those parameters, I want to run this program using a new data set of 30 songs, 15 of which that I have deemed are calm, 15 of which are not, and see how accurate my program is, and hopefully have that evolve into a machine learning algorithm of sorts. And if you see me in the halls next year, I do more than just STEM. I am currently the executive treasurer at this of the upper school, and I am also a co-head of representation, which is a safe space club for Asian and Asian Americans. I am also a writing center tutor, and I am part of Tartan Tones, which is the choir and instrumental ensemble because I play violin. And I really love how at Stuart I can be a voice for what I care about. So I have a lot of experiences in not only STEM, but also everything around the board. So that's a little bit about me.
Hi everyone, my name is Jatika and I'm a current senior at Stuart and I will be a freshman at Lafayette College next year. And I'll be majoring in mechanical engineering, so it's pretty STEMmy. So what first brought me to Stuart was I came from a very large public school as well, and I wanted more attention from my teachers, and I needed that, safe space too. And I love how all the teachers at Stewart and all the students are so helpful and so welcoming, and I really felt like happy. So what is my favorite STEM class? I would have to say is physics, taught by Miss K. Because I love algebra and I just love doing equations, and I gain happiness doing the homework because it's just so it comes so easy to me. And so yeah, and then I guess my second class would have to be chemistry. It is challenging for me, but I think that's what's good. It's not too easy. I stop to think and learn. So I like that. My my independent project, so I did a project. I grew chia seeds through vertical farming, which is basically I grew chia seeds without using soil and I used clay pebbles, and it's vertically. It's not typically we farm horizontally, but this is vertically. And I did this to see if I could offset the CO2 production in one of the science rooms, and I'm going to be comparing my data from that to a regular science classroom. And other things that I'm involved in, Stuart, is I'm the senior class treasurer and I'm also the senior representative for the Alum Association. And I've been on the tennis team since freshman year. So thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Izzy. I'm currently a junior in college at Stevens Institute of Technology in Hoboken. I was class of 2017, which is a long time ago now. Um, but Stuart really prepared me really well. for being. Oh, I'm studying computer engineering, and Stuart prepared me really well. Like I remember, I showed up my freshman year, and academically, like I was so prepared with the math and the science that like a lot of my friends were really struggling in the beginning, and I wasn't, because I had come with this really solid foundation of the basics of like math and science. But I think more importantly than that, like Stuart helped me. But there are a few things. One of the big things was I learned to like work with my teachers and ask for help when I needed it, which is so important in college. So many of my friends are like afraid to raise their hand in class because they like don't want to get an answer wrong, or like are afraid to reach out to their professors. But like I'm not at all afraid of like answering questions wrong or like going to ask for help. And that's helped me so much, especially getting into more challenging classes. Um, Also, I think both of you guys are super involved at Stuart. I was also really involved in like a million different things when I went to Stuart, and that helped continue helped me when I continued to be involved in a lot of stuff at college. I'm the president of our IEEE student branch, so that's like a professional society for electrical and computer engineers. First female president at Stevens of IEEE, and I also played field hockey my freshman year at Stevens, and so I was always doing like a million things, but like I was ready to do that because I did a million things at Stewart. Um, and I feel like I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I had to get to be involved in leadership and that kind of thing. But then also, like I was super into computer science and engineering from like a younger age, and then at Stewart, I like ran out of computer science courses to take, and Miss Testa just like made more courses for me to take. She just like worked with me to develop an independent study project, and I got to learn so much more than I would have if I had just been like taking classes. Whereas in this case, I got to like actually build. I did the STEM endorsement, I guess, like when it was originally. I think I was the first person to do it. I was. Yeah. So it's just really cool to like be given wise freedom and get to like build this cool thing that I was interested in. And it's led to me like now I'm working on an app to better support concussion patients in their recovery, and like all this other stuff that I think really like having the wise freedom and the tools at Stewart helped prepare me to do this now, and like know that I have these technical skills, but like I can use them to make a difference in things that I care about, which is really cool. But that's my long rambling answer for how Stuart prepared me really well to work in computer engineering.
And one of the great things about Stuart is the fact that it doesn't matter what your interests are. We try to foster those interests. We've had independent studies in film. We've had independent studies in chemistry. We've seen independent studies in English classes as well. And what's really fantastic about the kids and the students and how they develop to be well-rounded students. I'm sure every single one of these lovely young ladies would no doubt that they need their English classes and their history classes just as much as they need their STEM classes, that everything blends together and gets them to think in a new and different way. So I'd love to open up for questions if anybody has any. So, Ratika and Vivian, I have a question for you. What outside of Stuart, what other things have you done outside of Stuart?
I mean, I can start. Sure. So in through the STEM endorsement, we have a Google Classroom, and Ms. Testa and Mr. Bink meticulously and put a lot of links and like just always gives us like abundant resources. So as a freshman, I applied for the National Center of Women in Technology, and I've been applying every year for their awards, their regional award that I've gotten. So I'm part of that group. And also in my sophomore year, I applied to be a Governor STEM Scholar for this year, my junior year, and I am part of that association as well. And I have just applied to the Governor's School of Engineering and Technology. So those are all like the programs that Stuart has graciously like offered me to apply to, but I'm also but not affiliated with Stuart, but still influenced by them. So
yeah, no, I've never really applied to any of programs, but I went to Lead Like a Girl, which is our big risk taker event. Unfortunately, this year was canceled, and I attended that for 2 years, and I was supposed to present my STEM endorsement project this year there. But the project, my senior project, was like the biggest thing I've done, like STEM related. I feel like the idea wasn't created by me. It came from a Princeton graduate from Stuart, and I found this huge interest to it just because I thought it was so interesting, like growing plants a different way. So I added a bit of twist to it and wanted to really like find something like reducing the carbon dioxide levels. So that was the biggest thing I did. So yeah.
And what about community service? What kind of community service have you done?
I guess I'll start again. So in freshman year, I helped in the lower school for my hours with working with children, and then in sophomore year, I was my class secretary and treasurer. So I worked with Princeton Princeton Nursing Senior Center, Princeton Senior Resource Center, and I helped. I collaborated with their event coordinator, and together we had a few events like making Valentine's Day grams that I invited members of my sophomore class then to work and then to work together. So those were how I got my hours. And then this year I'm working with my Chinese school, Princeton Chinese language school, for my nonprofit hours.
So freshman year, I volunteered at Aftercare, which is the lower school like aftercare program. And sophomore year, I volunteered. Oh, and also in freshman year, I went to India and I volunteered in an eye hospital, which was really interesting. And then in sophomore year, I volunteered at 2 senior homes, as that's like the requirement. You volunteer, like freshman year, you volunteer with children. Sophomore year, volunteer with the senior citizens and elderly community. Then junior year, for my nonprofit, I went back to the Indian hospital in India, and I volunteered at a government school, and I volunteered at the eye hospital. So I did volunteer.
So have any of you participated in ASP, the Appalachian Service Project, and do some of the engineering that happens there? Izzy, I think you did when you were at Stuart.
Am I the only one? I don't
Might
know.
be.
I guess it might not be happening this summer, but
Well, I don't think we know yet.
yeah. Okay. Well, if it happens next summer, I guess Vivian, are you the junior? You should go, 100%. But yeah, I went on ASP for three different summers. It was really great for a lot of reasons. It was really like I learned so much more about like the Appalachian culture and kind of the housing crisis and like all sorts of socio-political things that are going on there. But then like practically, I also learned a lot of construction skills, which was cool. So like I knew how to use some basic tools beforehand, but like I worked with my team and like built a deck and like put flooring and insulation in. And that's cool because you get some like hands-on knowledge about like I took a class called Mechanics of Solids my sophomore year at Stevens, and we learned about basically how to build like bridges and things to make sure that they don't break based on different forces and things like that. And you can like study that and see it in a textbook and do the equations and everything like that. But it's a whole nother thing to like actually hands-on have built a deck and like making sure you have the correct supports in place so like it's not going to collapse with like a certain load. So it was really cool to have that hands-on knowledge and like know that like I can build pretty much anything now, which is really cool. ASP is awesome. You should totally do it. Also, for anyone who's watching, if you go to Stuart, you should go on ASP. There's Miss Kohler. She was on ASP with me too.
Miss Kohler is our middle school science teacher, and she's also our main chicken tender, and she keeps track of our chickens. And Miss Kamarski, I always kill her name, even though I too have a ski name, is our physics teacher. So I'll let them talk a little bit more about what they do every day as well. Anna, would you like to go first?
Hi, so as Miss Testa said, I'm Miss Kitchmarski. She was close, but all the students call me Miss K. I teach all levels of physics here at Stuart. I also teach math, and so I teach honors geometry and algebra 2, and I'm the volleyball coach, so I wear many hats, so do lots of things that hopefully you will as well. So here at Stuart, I think the best thing is the connection that we are able to have with our students like you. You really get to form a bond with them, and you get to do all these projects, and you have the freedom to really do creative things that you wouldn't get to experience necessarily in a more, I would say, more public setting, I would say, I guess, with a lot of students. And so we really get a really small lab setting where we could do a lot of hands-on activities. And it's really wonderful to be able to do group work and actually communicate with all of your kids more than once in a class. And so I think when you kind of come to see our classes, you'll love the attention that Ritika spoke about and Vivian spoke about of how we get to actually form a relationship, and we have advisor roles where you will be placed with a teacher who will be kind of your advisor for the year. And we have many jobs as your advisor. We're here to support you emotionally, socially, anything that you kind of need, but also academically to help you figure out your courses for next year. So that's kind of just a little insight into what else we do. So we're not just teachers, we are here to support you in the best ways possible.
Allison, do you want to talk a little bit about middle school life?
Sure. So I love what Anna, Ms. Kosmarski just said. I think in a lot of ways, things are really similar in the middle school in the sense that because of our class sizes are on the smaller side, we have the opportunity to spend a lot of time with our students. In middle school, there are 2 science teachers, and we each teach. So I teach 5th and 6th grade, and my colleague teaches 7th and 8th grade. And so we get the opportunity to work with students over 2 years in middle school, which is really awesome. I really feel like I know all of my students really well. And just like in upper school, we really do get the opportunity to do a lot of hands-on activities, especially in middle school. I'm all about hands-on activities. My background's actually in environmental education. So I also love that we have this beautiful giant campus that is forested. So my 6th graders, we go out every year and assess the stream. So we go out and take samples of the stream and do chemical and physical and biological assessments of the organisms that live there. And any opportunity I get to go outside, certainly that's my goal. Ms. Tessa also mentioned the chickens. So we have a small chicken coop on campus. They are one of my favorite things about school. So we have a small club of students called the Chicken Tenders who help us out with that. But then also we try to find opportunities to work those into the classroom as well. So our fine feathered friends are out there producing eggs and being adorable. And it's a really cool opportunity for us to kind of get to interact with some animals on a regular basis too.